Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming back once again. You've got the best podcast of the 815. This is Beyond the Cube. I am Bob. Along with me, as always, is my dude, my man, Vince. What's going on, man? How's it going, dude?
Oh man, it's going. That's for sure, man. So I know I was sick out there for a little bit on Thursday and a couple days before, but kind of bouncing back. So that's some good news, I guess.
That is good news. That is good news because when you're down and not in the office, it's the worst. It's literally the worst. You don't even understand, man.
I don't know. I could say the same about when you're out of the office, man. It's like it seems like no one has that like energy level that is like that we've kind of grown accustomed to, you know.
Yep. It's just that's just how it is, dude. Yeah,
I
because
know.
like when you're not there, it's just literally the worst.
Well, speaking of the worst, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to you as well. Today is February 16th, 2019. Once again, Vince, happy anniversary.
Yep, we will never forget.
We shall never forget, ever. Wow.
But, man, what have you got going on, man?
So what do I not have going on? Yeah, just working through quite a few different projects. Since the podcast has come out, a lot of friends and a lot of former, maybe not necessarily former clients, but just clients in general, just people in general that I talk to that are doing different things here and there, and old friends that even that are overseas. But man, it's great that you're listening to the podcast. That's crazy. Hope all is well and stuff. But yeah, thanks for reaching out, and it's cool to make reacquaintances with some old folks that you haven't touched base with in a long time, and to be able to catch up and stuff. It's really cool. And once again, and if they need work, that's even cool as well too. So pretty excited about taking on some more kind of graphical work. Some doing a little bit of illustration. I have done kind of some typography work here recently. So it's going to be nice to kind of get back in and do some characters is what he's kind of looking for. So he's a big fan of the characters that we currently have right now for the site, and looking to kind of come up with the style kind of similar to that for him. He is actually pulled corks. You could check him out. He's got podcasts. He's got his website. I'm going to have to see if I can check out and get that website before this episode is done recording, so I can definitely plug him. But yeah, man, for sure. Just a lot of that. Getting through a couple of big projects. And literally right maybe about 10 minutes before we recorded, I got contacted back from a client who I just dropped off some apparel to, and they're ready to place another order, man. She goes, I only have 8 left. I believe when I dropped them off, it was just a tick under 50 pieces. So
wow.
If they're flying that fast, that's pretty awesome. That's really awesome. So and then those guys, that's Chubbs out there in Warren, Illinois. Chubbs, I appreciate you letting me take care of all that branding, that logo and artwork and stuff. And yeah, man, happy to get that order done for you. So yeah, so just doing that. Just staying busy, bro. You kind of know.
Oh yeah.
Got some really cool plans for Beyond the Cube, and which can definitely tie over to some of the other projects and stuff that we work with. And yeah, man, I just ready to take a really big step, and it's going to be really cool and exciting, and I really truly can't wait. So yeah, man, just staying busy, bro. Trying to really kind of manage the workloads also too. That's the one thing I've really kind of noticed. It's funny because I can kind of load up on one day and it's you get through one piece and one job, and then you're just right on to the next one. I look to see where I'm at with one client, and in a pretty decent spot. So being able to follow up with them even and making sure that they're okay, and if they don't need anything else, and it's starting to become extremely efficient at a lot of stuff and being able to multitask and take on. I think I did about did work for at least 4 different clients today, and was able to really get in a really good place with each one of them too. As far as either becoming very close to wrapping up a project or just following up on a completed project. So that's that extra little customer service definitely goes a long way for sure. So yeah, man,
Oh no,
that's
and in seeing those designs too, I mean, it's like every one of them was like very unique, like I know I was getting like messages from you throughout the day of how you're working, and I'm sending you messages throughout the day of it's like, oh, look, I'm at this food spot, or it's like, oh, I'm over here just having fun. So
so yeah, man. So yeah, what's been happening with you? You need to let us know what you got going on.
man, so the we had a trip the previous weekend where we went to DeKalb for one of the WWE shows, and even like how I got there was kind of like just kind of a weird story, because it's like I know one of my friends had reached out and was like, oh, it's like I have an opportunity to get some tickets. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
you want some of those? And I was like, nah. I was like, we'll pass this time. Well, then my wife did get involved, and about like an hour later, she was like, "Oh, by the way, it's like he's gonna be here to pick you up at like 5:45 to go out to DeKalb." I'm
Nice.
like, okay. But this is where I did find out that my son is not someone who is very into watching sporting events. Uh, from the I want a snack. It's like I want some water. I want a snow cone. Or there was one point too where it's like I was trying to watch the show, and it's like we had really good seats. Like we were right up there. Like the ring was like, if even like 25 feet away from us. Well, then he's like, so he's kind of like standing on my lap, and what he's doing is he's like feeling the top of my hair, which is kind of spiky because it's growing out at the moment. And he's
Mm-hmm.
like sitting there feeling it out, and he's like, Dad, he's like, your hair doesn't feel like mine. And I'm like, yeah, like yours is kind of flat and mine's kind of spiky. And he's like, I can't see my hair. And I'm like, well, I was like, I really can't see my hair either, but I can see yours. So this is kind of at the point where he was, I think, like the tired drunk, you know, where it's just kind of like, oh, it's like, what kind of topic is happening the second that I can explore?
Right.
And so, man, there was another moment too where when he did get his snow cone, like uh, after a little while, he like smashed it down with his straw and turned it into like a slushy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's sitting there like nursing the slushy, and like I'm trying to watch him like every few seconds. I'm kind of like glancing over to look and see. It's like, okay, it's still standing. He still has like the straw in his mouth. And then it's like I'll go and do the same kind of thing where it's like I look again, like at the ring, and then I'll look back at him and he still has it. Well, and there was a moment where he kind of like turned, or where I turned to the ring for probably a good like 5-10 seconds. And in the time that it took me to look at the ring at that and then look back, he had kind of like dropped the whole cup of like icy just on the ground and down his legs. I'm kind of looking at him because he has the cups like it's right side up again, and the straw
Wow.
is in there, and it's like he's trying to take a drink of what's left in there, but there's like not really much, just kind of like just little, like little drops. And I'm like, really, dude, really? I was like, I was like, I knew this was gonna happen. That's why I was like keeping an eye on you and making sure. But Like, man, just those 5-10 seconds, man, they just change lives,
Man, I'm telling you, literally just 5 seconds. You turn and look just for let your guard down for just you think you can take a look at something or everything has been good and you let your guard down just for that like little tiny bit and then boom. Of course, man. Of course, it happens that way. Never fails.
Oh, I know. And well, so that was last Saturday. That was like a span of like maybe like 4 or 5 hours. But then this week we actually had a little more of a road trip. It was kind of going out to the suburbs, kind of like where I used to really like the old stomping ground. And it's kind of weird because we covered a lot of places, but it was one of those things where again, it's like we had headed out and I went to Half Price Books. I got rid of like a bunch of pop figures and a bunch of board games that I had. Just kind of doing a spring cleaning, like after the aftermath of the polar vortex. So, and then I know, right? It's like as soon as it gets to like 40 degrees, it's like, man, it's like this must be springtime. It's like let's start cleaning it out. And so then we did that, and then the plan was to go to like this one Japanese supermarket, Mitsuwa, to go get some food. They have like a food court set up out there. Well, then we got there around like 1:20 or so, and I'm like, man, I was like, hopefully the lunch rush is gone. Well, man, that place was jam packed. There was not getting a seat, and like we had stood around for like 5 minutes just kind of watching, and it's like it's one of those things where it's like someone would see like a group of people getting up, and so like they would kind of approach and be like, "Oh, it's like, are you getting up?" And it's like, man, it's like we need to go like out and do that, but it's like these people, man, like I think they're like experienced professionals with this. Like they had done this much more than we have. So we end up. It's like, well, it's like, how about well, then we grab some snacks out there, which it's like man, like I can't even think of the name of it, but like the Pocky sticks or the like was it like the koala yummies almost, where it has like the koala cookies with like the chocolate like injected in it. And bro, I'll tell you, like I'm a total weeb for real. Like I'm not so much more with the anime and the manga anymore. Like I'll watch an episode every once in a while, or listen to something or read something every once in a while. But it's more like I guess the like culture kind of stuff kind of is still infused in me. Because I mean, I was really looking forward to getting a bowl of ramen. I was like, man, this is what I waited for. But we ended up, well, all of a sudden it's like, well, because that's going to be such a long wait. It's like, and then we're obviously not going to get a table because it was just in the time that we were there, like just nothing was opening up. And it's like the line was still so long. It's like, all right, we'll just go. I was like, well, let's go head over to, somewhere else. And we had kind of like decided on White Cottage, which was honestly one of the best pizza places that I have ever been to. And when I used to work over in the suburbs, my boss, he would swear by this thing too. He's like, or by that place too. So like probably like once a month, we would go ahead and order pizzas for lunch from White Cottage and then go bring them back to work. And I'd usually go and pick them up or something. But yeah, so then we went there and the sign didn't say open, but people were still going in. So it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. So we went to go in, and the lady's like, "Oh, it's like, yeah, the dining area doesn't open until 4." Well, it was only like 2:00, and it's like, man, really? So we did end up going to Portillo's though.
There you go.
Of course, maxing on that.
Of course.
Yeah. So but like really, there wasn't like other than that where like the trip kind of took a few detours. Like there really wasn't really anything that kind of like stood out as it's like, one of those like really, is this really happening kind of moments, So
yeah,
at least not for me. But
sometimes that's good though, man. That's kind of easy going. Like you got there, you got rid of some of your stuff, man. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like it all worked out pretty well though too.
No, for sure. And my objectives was really to like, sell the figures, sell the board games, and eat. Those were my two objectives, and I completed both of those with absolutely no problem whatsoever.
There you
So
go.
that was a good time there.
You didn't even have to use your AK, bro.
I know. I guess it has to have been a good day, man.
There it
So
is. There
no
it
triple
is for
doubles,
sure.
but
Oh
you know
man. Well, then it wasn't like the absolute like best days, but it was just all right.
that is true. I'd actually just read an article too on what was it? Actually, it wasn't an article. It was on the radio where they were talking about people had analyzed that song and figured
Right.
out exactly what day was like the good day that he had wrote about in the song. And it was kind of weird because it's like okay, it's like so it had to be kind of like in the summertime, for this reason. And then like they even had to pick apart one of the lines about the smog, like how there wasn't any smog like, during that day. And it's like okay, it's like well like that really limits it to like these days. So and then it's also like okay, well when was the song released? It had to be before it was released, but it was also after like a certain point because he mentions another song, and so it's after that. So we'll have to circle around and find exactly what day that was again. But they had analyzed that full song and the situations around it to be like, okay, this was the day that was, that he considered to be a good day. So
That's crazy. Speaking of good days, today is February 16th, 2019. Once again, happy, or I don't know if it's happy, but just anniversary, Vince. A day that we
well,
shall never
anniversary day.
forget.
Yeah.
Yes, the day that we shall never forget. Once again, today is February 16th, 2019.
A bit unspeakable
Talk
too,
about
but
just talking about things and stuff that's happening today. So also the slam dunk contest is on currently right now, as we are recording, and it is kind of like sort of like a tradition. Like me and my wife don't ever watch basketball. Really, truly, it's like literally the last time that I watched that I was kind of like into a season was when like Derrick Rose was on the Bulls, and we had Joakim Noah, and Tibbs was our coach and stuff. Back like
mhm.
when we were decent. and,
Before was the Timberwolves.
oh my
So
gosh, before it's been just like absolute like drama train wreck, basically.
yeah.
But the one thing that we always do is we always, for whatever reason, we always watch like the All-Star Weekend, and just usually it's just between like the entertainment and the performers that are on, and also the slam dunk contest. That's kind of always sort of been our thing. So I am kind of in and out watching it, and it started off pretty strong. It's kind of tapered off a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit of weak sauce right now.
Hmm. It happens though. I mean,
It,
I don't know. Man, the like all-star events, those are the ones that I can kind of get invested in,
mhm.
like just because it is kind of I don't know. It's kind of cool that like they get to kind of have fun with it. Like I
Right.
know what was it like I think it's like baseball though. Like doesn't that decide like where the home field
Yes.
advantage is though?
Yes, absolutely. It's a little bit strange, because yeah, depending on which league wins, that league going into the World Series will have home field advantage regardless of records. During the regular season, which sometimes it seems like it's unfair, but whatever. NBD.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, well, isn't man, I'm trying to think like I wanted to say that they had I'd seen some stuff about how what was it? The It's kind of funny where it's like they're talking about like if the Cubs and Sox were to switch like leagues that they were
Hmm.
in, that like the Cubs would probably be like a 108 win team, and the Sox would probably not win a game. or like
Oh,
they'd
for
be like
sure.
a 108 win or a 108 loss team kind of thing. But that's just because of how competitive it is, like on like really between the leagues. It's like one league is like completely stacked, where the
Oh,
other
dude.
side,
Yeah.
has like one or two teams who we know are going to dominate through the rest of the season.
Yep. Yep. So, man, it's funny because you act like you're not a sports fan, but totally, I truly kind of feel like you are. Either that or you do some amazing, awesome research. Either way, it's really, really cool. But, thanks to Briz for coming on last podcast. Like, first of all, also, I just kind of want to say that I haven't received so many compliments regarding a podcast number one, let alone like all the really positive and great comments that I've heard regarding our guests as well. Like, just it's so cool that like once again, thank you, Briz. It was an absolute great and so much fun episode to record. I was so excited, I literally felt like I was screaming through the whole entire thing. But back to the whole thing. Yeah. So when you brought up you were the one that really brought this up, was that like running through the computer that like what the projected records were going to be for those teams. I heard it and I was like, that is blasphemy. That is just truly just tomfoolery. Like, are you kidding me? Like, they only said that number one, they said that the Cubs were only going to get like 80 something wins, and then also that the Cardinals were going to have more wins than the Cubs. And Briz brought up a really good point that like our division this year is just going to be so tough, and everybody that's in the division is just solid. And whether it's been moves that have been made or just once again just how tough these teams play each other, regardless of what moves or what's going on. I mean, there is times when Milwaukee was just absolute garbage. Ha ha ha, Trisha. And when they would play the Cubs, though, I mean, it was like the Cubs couldn't beat them. I mean, and it seems like that with Pittsburgh all the time in Chicago. Regardless, and Pittsburgh really hasn't been that great in a while. It always seems like they play the Cubs really, really tough. And of course you have the Cubs Cards rivalry, which is good all the time.
Mhm.
And of course that one really truly, it seems like it really truly doesn't matter who is where in the standings. They play each game like it's like game 7 basically. So yeah, man. It's very it's cool. It's just yeah. Going into the season, it's going to be wild for sure.
No, for sure. I'm totally looking forward to sports season starting up again. Like, we've had our break here with hockey and basketball, where those are kind of non-sports at the moment, or we don't really have to follow it. But
Right.
now we're getting into baseball season again.
Man,
And
I'm so
then
excited.
shortly after that is football season.
Yeah.
Me, I'm really not invested until the next like 2 or 3 years here when the Olympics starts back up again. So you gotta support those curlers, man.
I was just about to say, I knew it. What so far? So out of your research, what team seems to be the strongest curling team going into this upcoming Olympics?
Oh man, well with that ban from the Canadian team, that's really not gonna be. No, I don't know.
So
Like,
would you rather pick the American drunks or the Canadian drunks?
the Canadian B team or the American A team, who is still not superior to the Canadian B team. It's one of those things where it's like those sports, like it always seems like either either the countries that you'd kind of like assume are going to dominate, like especially if you think like the winner, and it's like, well, think like kind of like Greenland, like Switzerland, like kind of like that, where it's like they have snow and ice like year round. You would kind of assume that they're just going to kind of do better in these, but then you also get the countries like America and you get the countries like China who can just buy these athletes and be like, you know what? It's like, I see you're doing really good in your country, and you're kind of like used to like, these kind of conditions. It's like, how about you just hop on over here? We'll give you some, residency, and then you can still train over there. That's fine. But it's like, when the time comes, now you're gonna be playing for us.
The recruiting is what it is. The recruiting in curling is more lucrative than what we really truly thought, obviously.
Oh man, think of like everything too, like track and field, like what was it? Hockey also, I think, is another big one. But then you get the sports that no one cares about, It's like what was it? Well, not no one cares about, but the ones that are like, see, again, it's like I'm trying to reach to even remember, Like,
Right.
I don't know, is like Taekwondo a thing on there, or judo, you know?
It seems like it.
Like, I don't know if those are sports, or I know I'm gonna catch flack for it, but like, again, it's like these are the ones I cannot recall, Like, or the
So
one where they like ski and then they shoot and then ski again. That's
there you
another
go.
thing where it's like, well, it's um like, I understand why it's a sport, because there is a competition in between it or with it, but it's like, this is one that the Olympics does not put a focus on. So you kind of like, this is like the Olympics, like the fourth channel that they have, that you're gonna see this, or like, I don't know, like even like some of like the stuff like the was like skeleton,
Yeah.
like, what was it, where they ride down on those, man, which that thing is dangerous. I don't know why that's not like higher up there, because that like will mess some people up, I'm sure. Like the speeds that you're going and head first down
Oh,
like
dude,
solid
yeah.
solid ice ramps. Like, first of all, that's insane. We'll never do that. But so I don't know, but it's cool to watch the Olympics like that, Like, and of course, I'm trying to think of like the summertime. They really don't have too much that I do watch, Like, I mean, because they do have basketball, like during the Summer Olympics, but I don't know what
Right.
kind of names they have in it. Of course, the track and field is another big pull from that one. Man, I don't know what else they have in the summer too. Can't think of the sports like off the top of my head,
Right. No, yeah, I was just thinking, so how recently, like how you were talking about like different athletes being recruited by like different countries and stuff. So, just recently, like skateboarding and snowboarding and stuff like are now Olympic sports. So what happens if like they stop, or if Jamaica starts recruiting like our number one like snowboarder, just so that way like Jamaica could start like start entering the Winter Olympics like with their bobsled team, but
Oh
also
my
like
goodness,
with some
that'd be
pretty
the
sweet
greatest.
like snowboarders. Like yeah,
It's like Shaun White jumps to Jamaica for like just for snowboarding.
yes,
Like, I don't know, like I don't know if they have enough money to kind of throw around like that, but
yeah.
I mean, that'd be kind of cool to see. It would actually resemble like, really, it would resemble the sports that we have kind of nowadays. Like, just think of how like it's come, like, even with the off season for every sport,
Right.
and
Yep.
then you always get those people. It's kind of like, who are they going to sign with, So I guess it'd be kind of weird to have like free agency for the Olympics. I don't know. That would be.
That'd be so messed up. Seriously, that would seriously be the worst. Like, oh, we're recruiting this this fifth grade Australian because we hear that he is just wicked with the lasso, and we want him to be on our lasso team so that way we can win the gold. We're going for all
Oh
medals.
man, yeah, that's true. What about what was it? Oh man, or for basketball, where it's like you get, man, you get Japan competing in like basketball, but then it's like they have like so many NBA stars. It's like almost like a draft, but not. Yeah, they just pick them all up in free agency. It's like, well, Rose is available this year. It's like he is not signed with the country yet. So the deadline is going to be on this day for when they can apply for the citizenship for it.
Jeez, that's like, but like it would be awesome if like you can like they're convincing people to they're recruiting people by like foods by like, hey, if you're recruiting by food, then like Mexican country
Oh
is going to be
man,
strong, for sure. I feel like your
yes,
Japan and China countries are definitely have heavily favored recruits for sure. Also to you.
that's true, man. Thinking like, I don't know, what does America have to really like, I don't know, try and recruit people,
I
like
mean,
barbecue maybe. Well, not even really, like more like just hamburger and hot dogs. It's like
right.
every other dish I can think of has originated in another country.
You can't say like burritos. You can't say chimichangas. You can't
No,
say French
no,
fries. You can't say fried
no.
rice. You can't say pizza. It, you know.
Oh, dude.
Uh,
So in that case, though, Taco Bell could be a what do you call it? Like an official sponsor of the Team USA because it is kind of like American Mexican food. But
uh,
I know that's the whole
oh
debate
man.
right there. I'm not gonna. We'll just bypass that topic for now and save
There
that
you
for
go.
one whole episode. So,
There you go. So yeah. So speaking of, would you rather, be an archer for the Mexican national team, or defecting to China or Japan? Vince, I have a question for you. I want to know: would you rather be a ninja or a wizard?
oh man, probably a wizard on that one. I don't know. Like, I guess so. This is really going to get into kind of how nerdy I am. It's like, well, what do I need to actually cast spells? Like, but I will take. Oh man, that'd be terrible too. Because then if like doing even the most simple spell is like so convoluted and so like, it's like, oh, this takes a week worth of prep time, as well as like like you have to water this plant 3 times a day for 7 days, like something like that, you know. But I don't. But I would just take a shot in the dark and just say wizard. It's like we'll learn that. How
There you
about
go.
yourself, sir? Ninja
This
or
one
wizard?
is this one is a really easy one for me because I'm hands down picking wizard. It's I feel like it's the whole look thing. Most wizards have long hair and pretty long beards, so that's kind of
Oh,
the
there we
direction that
go.
I'm heading right now. I'm definitely a wizard for sure, for sure.
That does sell it too. Yeah. All right.
Yep,
So
yep.
here we are. Would you rather talk like Yoda or breathe like Darth Vader?
um. So I I think on this one I really this one is a tough one. I am gonna go ahead and go with breathe like Darth Vader. Actually, um, you know, so I wear a CPAP at night. Unfortunately, that
Yeah.
that makes it sound like I'm super cool. So yeah. So I guess apparently, really at night, I'm actually really probably really truly breathing like Darth Vader. Um, so yeah. So I am gonna go ahead and choose breathe like Darth Vader. Vince,
Hmm.
what about you? Are you talking like Yoda or breathing like Vader?
I am talking like Yoda. I think that would just be the ultimate troll right there. To always talk like that, man. Like I'm even trying to think of like how I would have responded to that, but just because I don't have the practice, I wouldn't be able to even answer that like in a way that like talk like Yoda. I would. I don't know. So, but that would make for a much more interesting podcast. Maybe, I don't know.
Very, that's true. Oh man. So okay. So how about this? Would you rather be able to speak to animals or speak all languages?
For this one, I'm gonna have to Dr. Doolittle it up, man. I'm gonna use the speak to animals for sure. Like, I think that would be more. I don't know. I feel like that would be a little more useful, especially if people don't know that you can speak to animals. Like, just the insight that you can kind of get. Like, even think of like the saying where it's like, oh, it's like, I wish I was a fly on the wall during that conversation. Well, and how would it be to actually be able to ask that fly those questions that you were wondering, I'd be
Dang.
like, bro, it's like you were sitting in on that. It's like, you got to fill me on the deets right now, man. So,
Good point.
how about yourself? Speaking to animals or speaking all languages?
Oof. So, wow. I think I just to be different, I'm gonna go ahead and say speak all languages. I think it'd be really cool to yeah, to definitely be able to converse with pretty much anybody and everybody, and there was not having any sort of like language barrier and stuff. I could see where that would definitely be beneficial, and yeah, and just being able to communicate with people because you know everybody seems like could probably do a better job communicating, honestly. So yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and be different, and I am selecting speak all languages.
Hey, that's not so bad though. I mean, just think, dude. Like, you can be a translator anywhere you wanted to be. So,
Truth,
good times.
absolutely.
This is probably one of my favorite ones on here, dude. For real. Would you rather Hakuna Matata or YOLO?
uh I you only live once. I am YOLO for sure. Going hard in the paint. Um as much as I love Hakuna Matata, I truly, truly, truly love Hakuna Matata. At the same time, you only live once. YOLO.
See, I'm all about
Vince.
that Hakuna Matata, man. I'm all about that. No worries, man.
Very true.
Even now, like just thinking of that saying, like this song has kind of like just straight like coming to my head, and now I'm gonna be like humming that all night. So,
Nice, 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 nice. So, yes, switching up from Hakuna Matata, would you rather have no one show up to your wedding or to your funeral?
for this one, I honestly think I would rather have no one show up for my wedding, just because it's like, I don't know. At the end, it's like, oh, it's like at the end, it's like everyone who did show up here. Whereas the wedding, well, I guess at the funeral you can have drama too.
Truth.
But like at least if there's drama at the funeral, you don't have to live through it. So
Oh my god!
I'd rather have no one at the wedding.
Wow. Dang. Drop mic. Wow. Good point. That is like the point of all points, basically. Wow. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much nailed it. You don't have to live through it. Um, for me personally, I don't really. I think I would be fine with nobody showing up to my wedding. Honestly, like you said, um, it's really weird to kind of think about. Really, honestly,
Well, and eloping
for
is a
either
thing
or.
though too. So
Yes,
like
absolutely.
there's
That's
people who will just straight be like, you know what, I do not want anyone here. It's
true.
like we're just going to the was it the Justice of the Peace or whatever, or I don't even
Yep,
remember. So
yep, yep. Heading up to the courthouse. Do you see that? I think there's like drive-through marriages now, also too in Vegas. You
oh
just
yeah, man. Even what's his name, Elvis getting in on that too, man.
Yep,
Like an Elvis priest being
it's a
like,
total thing.
Yep, and it's like, and while you're at it, I will notarize that for you as well. And you're on your here's your chip, and you're on your way.
Right.
All right, final here. Would you rather have all your choices made by other people or made by a randomized method?
So without getting too in depth about this, I am going to go ahead and put my faith in randomized method. I think if you had other people, selecting and making choices for your life, they may not necessarily have the right intentions. And if randomized method, um, I feel like it is kind of sort of how things are in a way, in a sense, I guess, because like you ultimately have a choice, and yeah, I mean, you think about it and stuff, and you make your best decision based off of whatever your choice may be. But is that technically random though too? You ultimately have a choice. So I'm taking the really really in depth scenario here, and I'm going to say randomized method.
That is actually my feeling too. Like I'd rather have it be like a randomized method than have someone choosing the actions for me. And it's kind of funny. I'm kind of basing that more on think about what was it? The Big Bang Theory had an episode where where was it? Sheldon was doing that. Like all of his decisions were made based on like a die roll. Like anytime that there was something that came up where he had to make a decision, he would roll on it, and then like whatever that number correlated to choice wise is what it would what would happen. Because it's like, oh, what do you feel like eating tonight? And he's like, would take the dice out, and he's like, I feel like eating, and then like rolls the dice, and he's like, Greek, I guess today. So like I think that would kind of lead to some very interesting choices, some very interesting experiences.
True.
And I know, and again, like kind of referring back to other like references too. Like I know I had like kind of watched a video where a parent, like a mom, basically said yes to her kids for like one full day, like 24 hours, where it's like, okay, whatever the kids like, whenever they ask me to do, like I have to say yes. And it's kind of cool to see that, like, of course, the meals were like completely out of whack because, the
Right.
kids aren't going to be asking for anything that's like kind of like gourmet or not going to be like, it's like go for the healthy choices.
They're going
But,
straight pizza rolls.
but yeah, it's like, if one of the kids is like, oh, can we go to like the arcade today? It's like, yes. It's like, let's go. And so kind of just did that. And it's kind of interesting to see that, I mean, that's basically kind of like along the same lines of having someone make your choices for you because it's like you're already predetermined to give them an answer. Like, even if you don't tell them that, that's like, even if I was to be like, okay, anyone who asks me a question today, I'm just going to say yes to, but don't tell anyone. And then just have, like people be like, oh, do you want to do this? It's like, yes. It's like, you want to do this? Yes. It's like, there would be quite a bit of I don't know. I feel like that would be more chaotic than if you used a randomized method. So
Truth. Very true. So I'm thinking for all these would you rather questions, they are going to go ahead and they're going to get posted onto the Beyond the Cube podcast.com website. So if you want to let us know how you feel about these, definitely by all means head over to our site. That's beyondthecubepodcast.com. And if you scroll all the way down at the bottom, they are going to be down there in the footer somewhere. If you're checking it out on the desktop, once again, look at the bottom of the site. You'll definitely catch them there. Once again, that is beyondthecubepodcast.com. So,
yep. And if you have anything that you want to submit as well, be it a would you rather, maybe you have a totally true story that is completely out there that you just need to have everyone else kind of hear, or if you even have a question for us, like something that you want us to kind of answer, something that you want us to talk about on this, definitely reach out. There's multiple ways to do it. The Beyond the Cube podcast at gmail.com being one way. Through any of the Facebook posts, we get notifications for those, as well as even on Twitter too, over at, was it Beyond the Cube 1? Or at Beyond the Cube 1.
That is correct.
Yeah. Reach out to us through any of the channels that you have us at, and we'll answer your questions as best we can.
Yep. We're always striving to definitely make this as interactive as possible. We had an absolute blast with Briz on our last podcast. That was, like I said, for me personally, I just truly enjoy talking Cubs. And when you have somebody as insightful as Briz on, it makes it super, just really easy and just a lot of fun, because she definitely gets excited about the Cubs and being able to talk Cubs and stuff too. So, man, once again, to me that was an unbelievable, just great fun time. And if you have something that you want to discuss or talk about, or if you got an idea or something, or if you just want to come and hang out, honestly, like we're totally absolutely cool with that. Just definitely get at us some way, somehow. Like Vince said, he gave you all the rundowns on all of our socials and stuff. And coming soon, you should be seeing some of these podcasts on YouTube, hopefully pretty soon as well too. So yeah, definitely get at us for sure. We don't bite, I promise. We're pretty easy and pretty laid back, and definitely feel like we could probably get along with anybody. So give us a shout and let us know what you want to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. Man, I'm feeling comfortable, man. That is about all I had going on right now.
Same.
You got anything else there, Bob? Or
oh man, I don't really think so. We are recording on Saturday night. This is February 16th. You got Beyond the Cube. But yeah, man, I think I'm good, bro. I mean, it was
cool.
a pretty crazy week. It's a fun way to kind of wrap up the week as well too, and just sort of, look back at what all transpired and stuff. And man, looking forward to next week as well.
I know, right? Looking forward to business as usual is what I'm expecting and what I'm looking forward to. So
absolutely.
On that note, happy anniversary. Well, anniversary, I guess. No, I'm just
that's right. The day that shall never be forgotten. The day that shall never be forgotten.
But otherwise, closing thoughts here. Thank you guys. Thank you for listening on really any channel that you can possibly find us through, whether it be through Spotify, through our posts on the website, our posts on Facebook, and soon enough, even on YouTube, you'll be able to find us there too. I don't know, we're kind of exploring ideas of what to do with that, whether it be kind of like vlogs of some sort, or even, I don't know, like we're coming up with some ideas. And if you have any suggestions too, or anything you'd like to see, let us know. But thank you so much for all the feedback. Thank you for listening. No, it's been awesome.
All right. So, Craig, once again, we appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Craig, go on, get out of here.